My name's David Adams, and I'm here showing Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age, which is a co-op action RPG set in the late 1800s.
So tell us a little bit more about Hunt. What's it all about?
Hunt's about hunting down monsters, basically. It's a monster hunting game where you're kind of in this world where technology is advancing very fastly, railroads are being developed, and electricity is coming to fruition, but there's actually all these secret horrors hiding around every corner and every dark place, and you're one of the people who's decided to kill them.
So tell us about the hunters. What drives them to look for monsters and kill them?
Yeah, I think part of it is, coming up with your own backstory as a player, and it's very much building your own archetype and your own character and your own story, but there's sort of this loose collection of people that have gotten into this one way or another. Maybe their family got killed off, maybe they saw something really terrible on a train somewhere or in a ballot alley in a street, and they basically said, enough is enough, I'm going to take care of this.
So are they part of an organization, or did they all just meet up at a tavern or something?
There's no global organization. No, it's more localized. Like there might be a group of guys in Louisiana that have gotten together and said, "Hey, I heard there's a witch out there in the swamp, and you need to take care of it." And it's more loosely collected like that.
Is this a class-based game?
You get to build your own archetype. So it is a very cooperative base. It is all about building up archetypes amongst yourself to help you fight the bosses. But there's no set hard class. But there's definitely that element of okay, I'm going to build this kind of character, you're going to build that kind of character, and you're going to build that kind of character, and these complement each other, and that'll help us defeat the creatures in the game.
What kind of weapons can players look forward to using?
So it starts out very authentic. We wanted the game to feel rooted in the 1800s, so you're going to have single action pistols, double action pistols, lever action rifles, double barrel shotguns, but it gets a little more experimental as time goes on. But we try to keep it rooted in the fact that, hey, we got to think of stuff that people could have actually made in this time period.
Now, what are some of the standout features of the game?
I think the biggest part is the boss hunting aspect of the game. We plan to have a ton of bosses. We want this to be the game where, hey, if you like killing bosses, you're going to play this game. And one big thing we think is really cool is that there's a really large cooperative element to the bosses. It's not just about doing damage. It's not just about, having four guys all with different guns. There's gameplay elements to the bosses, and one we showed today was the witch, where she'll pull one player into the witch realm, and that's the only player that can see her, and everybody else has to shoot that witch so everybody else can see him. And we want to build mechanics like that into the boss fights.
Now, we saw earlier that some of the levels are procedurally generated. How much of the levels are randomized?
So the full layout of the levels are randomized, the encounters, there's random events that occur during the levels, and we wanted to create a sense of infinite adventure, so you could always go on a mission, it's always going to be different, it's not going to be, a lot of RPGs you play through all the quests, and then if you want to keep doing content, you got to play through the exact same quests again. Well, all that stuff's randomly generated in this game, so it's always going to be different.
What kind of skills can players look forward to using?
Yeah, we're not really talking about a lot of the advancement stuff, but certainly you're building up your abilities and your load out the different weapons you carry into the mission and that sort of thing. It's a full RPG. There's a full sense of progression and customization of your character.
Do you want to talk about some of the items that players can use?
Not specifically. There's going to be stuff from the time period. You're going to have dynamite. You're going to have traps and cool contraptions like that. But we plan to take it in a lot of interesting directions, and we're revealing that at a later date.
And now, what makes this game stand out among? There are a lot of cooperative shooters coming out, and they're being shown here at E3. What makes Hunt stand out among them?
So I think there's a couple things. Obviously, the fact that it's procedurally generated, so you're not just playing the same mission over and over again. I think the pacing of the game, because it is authentic to the time period, it's not like you're shooting super fast. You got to reload bullets in your pistol one bullet at a time. It's not just a clip. So that naturally creates a unique experience. And when you play the game, you're like, wow, this is quite a bit different from a modern shooter or a futuristic shooter where I'm just running around spraying bullets and reloading really quick. And that automatically makes it different. And I think the next big thing is the emphasis on boss fights. There's not a lot of game where the number one focus is fighting bosses.
And when can we expect the game to come out, and for what platforms?
So the beta's in this fall. We're going to have a beta on PC to start with, but the game's ultimately going to come out on PC and consoles.